today by the Cleveland Browns.
Thompson trying to get some extra time by rolling away from the pressure, but Bam Bam Ambrose turned it on. I didn't know he was that fast. He flew out there. Nice play.
That's only the third scrimmage play for the Bengals offense in this quarter. McAnally back in the game after what appeared to be a serious injury in the first quarter. He's to the right, Curtis to the left. Fake draw, then a screen, and drop for a loss is Archie Griffin. A flag is down, and we're going to have a penalty, I believe, against Cleveland for roughing the passer.
I think you're right, Dick. Yes, it is going to be that, and that's a costly error. You've got about a 7-8 yard loss, big play by the defense, and just a mistake in judgment by a young defensive lineman is going to cost him that big play.
Marshall Harris, after the pass is thrown by side, you see Robert Jackson involved in a little verbal challenge. Yards, Jerry Markwright, the referee, all the way out to the 47-yard line.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, number 90, defense, first down.
The Cincinnati Bengals, by the way, they're going to change their helmet design next year. Both the Browns and the Bengals, their helmets very much alike, same color. Next year you're going to see those Bengal stripes. They say it is almost a psychedelic effect. Wild gear to be worn by the Bengals next season. Pete Johnson to the 50-yard line. Johnson, who carried the ball often early in the game, but has been quiet since the first quarter. Henry Bradley made the tackle.
Trying to get right up into the middle of that defense with their big tank, Pete Johnson. But, boy, that Cleveland defense is fired up. They're really emotional out there.
Second down and 7 at midfield. McAnally left, Curtis right, tight end Ross on the right side. Play action. Thompson. Complete. McAnally, a fine catch. He used his body the way Logan does for the Browns. Clinton Burrell, the defender for Cleveland.
I said earlier, we're very pleased not only to see McAnally back punting, but now back on the field. Certainly must be feeling much better after that real shot he took earlier. Thompson waiting until the last possible second. Gets the ball right on target. Fine pass, excellent catch. Good first down. They're driving.
At the 39 of the Browns. Bengals down by 7. Over the middle. Intercepted and dropped. And in disbelief, Ambrose will go back to his defensive huddle. Right in his arms, but you see with all the heavy padding, the heavy gloves, those linebackers are geared for the interception.
Some of those linebackers have frying pans for hands, and I think Ambrose is going to curse his hands all week. Although he did get a grab. Alexander grabbed him right on the elbow. Might have had some impact on the way that ball was dropped. Watch just on the left side of your screen, the intended receiver reach over and grab his elbow.
You're right.
I think it may have stripped that ball away.
Thompson now 8 for 18. Looks at 2nd and 10. To McAnally, incomplete, and almost into the arms of Darden, playing behind the intended receiver.
I think Kenny Anderson, quarterback who has started so many games here and who's been the mentor to young Mr. Thompson, would be looking out there and saying, no, please do not throw that one.
3rd and 10. Forrest Gregg, following back-to-back 4 and 12 seasons here in Cincinnati, he's assured the Bengals of a better record this year, and they've beaten Pittsburgh twice. They shut out Minnesota. They've won their last 3 in a row, and looking for their 7th win today. A triple left formation. On 3rd and 10, Thompson in trouble, throws incomplete to McAnally. And since this is the Bengals' last game of the year, McAnally may need about 6 months to recover from this one.
Certainly might. Again, Thompson under pressure. Stunt run in there. Elvis Franks, 94, That's 77. Lyle Alzado getting there at the last second. McAnally stretching back. Autry Beeman, 24, the man going in to try and make the tackle. Again, not knowing whether McAnally had that ball or not.
No, McAnally saved an interception by reaching back. That ball was headed right into the arms of the Browns. McAnally, of course, did not kick in the first half. Breach was the punter because of his injury, McAnally's. Little soft kick toward the 1-yard line. Caught and down. You can do that as long as there's no Brown trying to catch the ball. That is legal. JoJo Heath. Make it Greg Bright making the play. Greg Bright caught the ball for Cincinnati. So from the 6-yard line, the Browns have it, leading by a touch. There are many advantages to having this guy as your partner. Not only is he the best analyst in football, he's one of the biggest, and boy, do you throw off good body heat. I really needed you today.
Needed today, Dick. A lot of heat being thrown off by these fans here. They're shouting defense, defense, defense. And the pressure certainly has shifted now to the Bengal defense. They have an opportunity to make something happen here. They've got Brian Sipe with his back right against his own goal line.
From the 6-yard line, and knowing Sipe and the Browns, he'll probably throw. He often does in this situation. Nope. He gives to Pruitt, and Pruitt gets only a couple of yards. Cameron, 50. 79, Browner. What a game he has played today. Edwards all in on the tackle.
Russ Browner had a fine start on the season. Really playing extremely well, and then was injured and had a tough time through some of the central part of the season. Has now come back strong here on the final part of the year. And I think part of the credit for what we've seen emotionally on the part of this Bengal defense today has to go to Hank Bullock, who really has done a good job of getting this team to accept and learn to play that 3-4 defense. And it's a tough 3-4 that they're playing.
Calvin Hill and Mike Pruitt behind Sipe from his own end zone. Complete, incomplete. Pruitt hit by Breeden just as he caught the ball. And Griffin, the touchdown maker earlier in this quarter, took it in just in case.
Again, the kind of hit that we have seen several times that shakes that ball loose. Watch Pruitt get it, turn right back into the shot there. Obviously, the ball not under control. Sipe will have a third down and about 8 yards to go anyway.
A score, Merlin Olsen, of interest. The Oilers have scored and tied Minnesota. That's late in the third quarter. Tony Frisch's field goal gets the Oilers even after Stabler and Casper hooked up on a touchdown pass. Sipe on third down, going long for Rucker. Almost caught by Rucker. He was battling Ray Griffin for the ball.
Put on your helmets. You can get down there and get a little feeling for what it's like to be in the backfield with Brian Sipe. Watch the shot he'll take right at the end. Whoops, didn't get a chance to see that. But now watch Rucker go up and fight for that ball. I think if there's one thing that comes through to you watching these Cleveland Browns, it's the quality, the catching ability of their receivers.
Great concentration. Montgomery at the Cleveland 44. Evans to kick from his own end zone. Short. Montgomery at the 39. Ran into his own man, and down he goes at the 38-yard line. He's mad at himself. He had a chance to get some yardage out of that and went the wrong way. 31-yard kick.
Not a good kick by Johnny Evans.
Oh, my.
Wow,
New Orleans has come. And that's with 14 minutes left. Manning to Wes Chandler, a 23-yard touchdown. And the Saints, who won their first game last Sunday against New York, are ahead of favored New England. Cleveland 24, Cincinnati 17 here. Browns ball. It's a big guy Johnson powering to about the 35-yard line with 6 minutes left in the third quarter.
Big Pete Johnson hit right into the stack at the line of scrimmage, and when he finally got through moving ahead, he picked up about 3.5 yards. He just drove them all through it like a bulldozer.
Well, those have been 34 tough yards earned by Johnson today. Meanwhile, his counterpart, Mike Pruitt, has been the only ball carrier for Cleveland. He has 12 yards rushing in 7 attempts. Sold out at Riverfront on a cold, clear Sunday. It's Johnson on a pitch. And a good play by Clay Matthews, number 57, fought off the blocker, made the stop after a 2-yard gain. The omnipresent Lyle Alzado also a piece of the tackle.
What an excellent play out there by Matthews, taking off on the one-on-one block, getting away from the block, and then sliding to the outside. And we told you, that's a 260-plus pound ball carrier. Matthews doing an excellent job of neutralizing his drive. Finally got some help in taking him down.
Third down, a long 5 at the 33 of the Browns. The Bengals a touchdown behind. Curtis moves out as a wing right. Blitz. Thompson to Curtis. First down at the 19. Fine catch by Curtis in heavy traffic.
Thompson back. We'll be seeing pressure from Bradley up the middle, but Bradley overran him. Good job of blocking interior line, and then a perfect strike to Isaac coming across the middle. He puts it in there for a big, big first down.
Mike Wilson, 77, did a good job of picking off the pressure after Thompson. First down. Alexander up the middle. Oh, he came within a man of breaking that for a touchdown. It is 24-17 Cleveland here in Cincinnati. Let's get an update from Brian.
Dick, down in the Superdome, the Saints are going for their second win and at the same time trying to knock the Patriots out of the playoff picture. Archie Manning to Wes Chandler has put the Saints in front 27-24 in the fourth. Dick?
Well, Pete Rozelle must be very proud of what he has watched this year. How can you construct a season with so many question marks coming down to the final minutes of play? And the Saints playing so proudly as Bengals are playing here.
So many hearts in their throats, too.
He does a fumble. Who's got it? Cincinnati. But a loss back to the 14-yard line as Johnson unable to handle the handoff. And it's been amazing we haven't seen more fumbles today.
Well, I think that's a credit to the kind of ball. These two teams don't cough the ball up easily. That one just dropped by Johnson on the handoff. And it looked like the quarterback, Thompson, who jumped right back in there and fought for that football with Charlie Hall, number 59. He was the man who recovered it.
Third down, 6 at the 15-yard line. 2 minutes and 45 seconds left in the third quarter.
Yeah, there's confusion on who was supposed to come out of there. Obviously, that will be resolved with a timeout for the Cincinnati Bengals.
2:45 left third quarter. Forrest Drake's team in position to possibly tie it. They trail 24-17. Merlin Olsen, Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati. Temperature in the teens. Cleveland Browns have rallied in this third quarter to take the lead, 24-17. Back-to-back touchdown passes from Brian Sipe to Ricky Feature. But the Bengals on 3rd and 6 have it at the Brown 15-yard line. This is in the frozen end of the field. Out of a triple right, it is incomplete to McAnally, who complained he was held. They had both Curtis and McAnally down on the goal line. In comes the field goal unit. Little Jim Breach will try to get 3 out of this drive.
Clay Matthews, the man coming from his linebacking position who forced that early throw. Matthews has been effective in the pass rush as a blitzer this year. I think Thompson certainly feeling the pressure, flipped a little early, and again a timing pattern. The timing of the receiver knocked off by the defensive backs. The ball fell incomplete in the end zone.
28-yard attempt by Breach is no good. He missed to the left. So the Browns will get it at the 20-yard line as the Bengals come up empty.
certainly a costly miss, because had they made that, then they get a touchdown, they go ahead in the ball game. Now they need a touchdown to tie. I don't think Pat McAnally is very happy with the call by the official on that last play.
That was the play down on the goal line where he thought he received a late bump. Ken Fouts, our director, Mike Weisman, our producer. Excellent crew with NBC Sports covering this game in Cincinnati. Beecher to the left. He's replaced Dave Logan, and has he ever? Rucker right. Greg Pruitt, his first carry today. Net fumble, and the Bengals have it. No, the Browns, they say the ball was dead. That Pruitt was already down when he fumbled.
The official is saying that the ball popped out as he hit the ground, and that's the kind of thing that will happen on a frozen and hard turf. Let's let you look at it yourselves. Pruitt getting outside. Great play by LeClaire from the inside. Ball bounces loose.
Let's see it again.
Different angle. Wow. Wow. Right on the back of Mike Pruitt, number 43, but at the same time shielded in part from the official. Difficult for him to see. I think I would have to side with Cincinnati. I think it was a legitimate fumble.
But the Browns get a break. It's 2nd down and 8. Newsom in motion. Sight down the middle. Incomplete. Ricky Beecher. He had Cleo Miller wide open in the left flat.
Another quick shot of the fumble, or non-fumble in this case. Watch him as he goes up the back here.
Can we play it backwards? Can we go reverse on it, follow it, take it back the other way, and see where that fumble occurs? Wonder if we could reverse that, Mr. Weisman. Can you take it back the other way, or do we have that facility?
We put the pressure on the folks down there.
I don't mean to do that.
That's second time to look at it. Ball being stripped away as before he hit the ground. The question may be about his knees. Were his knees on the ground? Difficult for us to tell.
Right. It's a tough ball. 3rd and 8. Offside, I believe. Yes. Down the middle, incomplete, but the Bengals were offside.
Sipe on the ground. He took a shot as that ball was delivered. He's holding his leg, Dick.
He hasn't gotten up yet. There he is, Brian Sipe. Doug Deacon.
He says he's all right. He's going to get up. He's a tough. I talked about him lacking physical stature. He does not lack courage. He is a very courageous young man and a very bright young man. I've really been pleased to see the kind of recognition he's finally received in this year, because he's been playing excellent football for quite a while, and perhaps only appropriate that he would receive that recognition this year.
All right, here's that play by Greg Pruitt again. Watch the knee, and we'll try to pick out when the ball is free. The ball is now free.
Well,
it's a fumble.
Yeah, I think it's a fumble. But again, awfully close. We get the advantage of slow motion.
That's right.
The official is calling in live action.
3rd down after the penalty, and 3 for the first down. Sipe almost intercepted by Reggie Williams. Actually broken up by the Browns' intended receiver, Greg Pruitt.
We talk about it frequently. When the ball is in danger of being intercepted, the roles are reversed, and suddenly the offensive receiver becomes the defensive back. Watch Greg Pruitt strip the ball out of Reggie Williams' hands, taking the interception away from the linebacker.
Johnny Evans in for an apparent punt. Leo Montgomery at the 40 of the Bengals.
Evans has had a poor day punting the football today. His punts have been short and low and returnable.
41 is longest thus far. This one's short again. Montgomery at his 44 fumble, and the Browns recover at the 43-yard line. Dino Hall again. Twice today, the Bengals unable to field the punt. And Dino Hall, the man on the spot, both times for the Browns.
Again, the ball kicked short. Up to get the ball. Leota has it in his hands, and then makes the mistake, I think, of looking downfield to see where he was going to run with that football. Boy, you can't run with it until you've caught it properly. And again, that's kind of off timing. Short punt like that sometimes causes problems for you. Watch the catch right there, or non-catch. He drops it back through, and alertly, Dino Hall right on top of it.
From the 43, Sipe trying to take advantage. Goes deep. Intercepted and dropped as a fine effort by Lewis Breeden, as they have been picking on Breeden all day on that side. And he may be hurt. And that was just from the way he collided with this frozen carpet.
Well, we talked about how hard that turf is, and as it gets colder, it will get harder. Breeden stretching, giving everything he had, ended up right on his nose on that turf. Breeden had a big week last week. 3 big interceptions in that Chicago victory. Of course, burned earlier today, as you said, Dick.
Apparently he's going to be all right. Minute and 24 seconds left in the third quarter. Because of the injury to McAnally, we must have had about a 10-minute delay in the first quarter while they attended to him to make certain it was not serious. This game running much longer than your normal contest, but boy, today there aren't many average games. There's so much at stake throughout the National Football League. Maybe this is a good time to run down all the scores for you. If I may have the master list, we'll just give you all the scores. Minnesota and Houston tied in the fourth quarter. Of course, that has implications along with this one. New England has gone back in front at New Orleans, 31-27. Oakland leading the Giants as expected in the third quarter, 27-10. Detroit, they're out of the playoffs, but trying to finish with a win. It's been a good comeback year for the Lions. They're ahead of Green Bay. Washington pounding St. Louis, 24-0. Heavy rumors that Jack Pardee may not remain as the Redskin coach. This team has played very well this last month. Of course, the other games will be later today. 2nd and 10. Griffin has replaced Breeden at the left corner. Pruitt and Miller behind Sipe. To the sideline, incomplete. Willis Adams, boy, as Merlin pointed out, that's like trying to catch a rock, and it went right through his hand.
One of the interesting innovations in the game, Dick, wasn't many years ago. If you showed up on the field with gloves on your hand, they called you a sissy. But most of the receivers, most of the linemen, many of the linebackers, on cold days now wearing a new kind of glove that really does allow for a good grip on the football. When they practice with it, they can catch the ball pretty well with it.
Keith Wright is in the game for the first time as a receiver. He's to the left. He's caught 3 passes this year, all touchdowns. Wright, and he's on the left side. Sipe in trouble. Down he goes. Eddie Edwards way back at the 37-yard line.
Sipe asking Calvin Hill what happened. Obviously the man he wanted out of that pattern. Eddie Edwards getting the congratulations on the sideline. A 20-yard loss, a very big loss, and an emotional play. You need that kind of an emotional play to get things moving again. Now let's see if they gamble a bit. They may go after this kick.
9 men on the line of scrimmage, now 10, with only Montgomery back at his 26. Catch. Montgomery at his 24-yard line. 36 seconds left in the quarter.
A better kick that time by Johnny Evans.
Boy, that young defensive line of the Bengals, and as you pointed out, Merlin, how they've improved defensively this year from last in the league last year to 9th going into this game. Number 1 draft picks, Edwards in the first round of 77. Whitley was a first-round pick, 77. Ross Browner, a first-round pick in 78. They're really building around that core, and do they have talent and have shown the Browns that talent today? Cleveland has not seen a pass rush like that all year. The flag is against the Browns. Mark Bright, the referee.
Illegal man downfield, number 80, offense, 4th down.
Willis Adams down prematurely before the punt, so Evans will have to kick it over. 24-17, Cleveland with the lead, about to give it up to Cincinnati on the punt. They have the return on this time. They held up the outside man pretty well. Short kick.
Look out. That's how they got in trouble last time. That's just before the half.
Ball rolls dead at the 41-yard line, grabbed by Ricky Beecher, 83. So the Bengals have it again with 23 seconds left in the quarter. That was only a 27-yard punt by Evans. So the penalty cost Cleveland 17 yards. Jack Thompson, young quarterback, all away for the Bengals. Kenny Anderson injured. Thompson to throw. Going long, got McAnally open. What a catch! An incredible catch for a touchdown! Oh, my! If it weren't for athletics, where would we find the Cinderella stories in life? Here's a man carried off the field on a stretcher, appeared to have a serious neck injury in the first quarter, comes back to make one of the great catches of this season.
You just put that one right out and put it in the highlight reel. McAnally with the ball thrown on his backside, had to go completely around, and believe me, we'll let you look at that again. We just wanted you to see the extra point first.
The game is tied again. And that replay doesn't need any verbalization.
What an incredible catch. What an incredible catch.
Pat McAnally, and here it is from another angle.
McAnally, as we said, turning completely around, taking the ball dead over his head. The toughest kind of catch in the book. Oliver Davis, 21 there, and he actually bounced right off the top of the defensive man and went on into the end zone.
Willie Mays would have been proud of that one. So McAnally, it looked as if he was guessing it was going to be farther to his right, was able to come back and with a left hand keep it in his grasp. It just didn't appear he had any chance to catch that football.
Let's give Thompson some credit for an excellent pass, too. A long pass, powerful pass.
Now Breach kicks it off. The Browns and Bengals are even. Keith Wright at the 20. He's at the 30, and he's hit at the 32-yard line with 3 seconds left in this crazy third quarter that opened with Ray Griffin intercepting Sipe for a touchdown. Then the Browns got 2 quick scores on Sipe to feature touchdown passes, and the one you just saw, Thompson to McAnally, as fine a play as we've seen all year.
Dick, we've talked about the intensity of this rivalry. It's a divisional rivalry. These teams go head-to-head every year, and this is the kind of game they've been turning in. They fought to a 15-13 game last year, one that the Browns eventually lost and cost them a playoff berth. We told you there's nothing that Cincinnati would rather do than put them out of it again this year.
Sipe to Pruitt, Mike Pruitt to the 40-yard line, very close to a first down. Jim LeClaire, Bo Harris made the tackle at the end of the third quarter. Oh my, Mr. McAnally with his highlight catch has tied the game. We go to the fourth quarter, dead even. The Cleveland Browns 24, the Cincinnati Bengals 24. Stadium, both Bengals and Browns fans have had their chances to cheer and to moan and dismay, but the play's basically been very exciting considering the weather conditions. Mike Pruitt has a first down for the Browns as we open the fourth quarter at the 46-yard line. The statistics through 3 quarters, almost dead even.
Almost dead even. Time of possession very close. Yardage in favor of the Browns. But again, big plays on the day. Cyphus had a few more, but no play of the day could have been bigger than that great catch by McAnally. One thing we have to reflect on, the importance of that missed field goal, that short field goal that Breed took off to the left in the middle of the third quarter.
That run by Mike Pruitt put him over the 1,000-yard mark, 1,002 yards with 19 yards today. Sipe complete to Newsom at the 49 of Cincinnati, a gain of almost 5. And Sipe himself has gone over the 4,000-yard mark passing on the season with his performance today. Former catcher on the Little League World Championship team from Grossmont and El Cajon, La Mesa area of Southern California. He's been a champion and a star all of his athletic life.
He's really a cool customer. You saw him there. It looks like he's strolling the park a bit. That's what makes him so effective in a game like this.
Second down, 6. Newsom in motion. Pruitt gets only a yard or two. 48-yard line. Tough defensive surge by the Bengals. Reggie Williams, the linebacker, helping Wilson Whitley and Jim LeClaire.
Trying to run in behind Big Joe DeLamalure over there. They obtained him in a trade with Buffalo before the season started. Able to sign him. He's an interesting case. He's very comfortable on a day like today. Grew up in Detroit. Played his football out there at Buffalo and then came here. From Detroit to Buffalo to Cleveland. You really got a Quinella there.
He says, I like it. I'm a blue-collar guy. I like playing for a town like Cleveland. Third and a long 5 for Sipe. Incomplete. Greg Pruitt hadn't looked for the ball, and Brian Sipe is really frustrated. Pruitt was never in the picture. He didn't know the ball had been thrown.
The quarterback needs to have the attention of his receivers. Sipe back, reads the defense, knows which man is open, and throws it to him. Now watch what happens. You got to look for the football. And that's exactly what Sipe is saying. Come on, you got to look for the football.
The Browns, with 12:44 left in the game, are tied at 24. Evans hits a high angle and a good bounce inside the 15-yard line, out of bounds at the 14. Good kick by Evans. And in this tie game, we have a timeout. 12:35 left. It's even at 24.
The Canon NP80 puts you in touch with the age of micronics, an ingenious combination of microcomputer, optics, and electronics expertise. Extremely fast and reliable, the Canon NP80 makes 32 letter-sized copies a minute on plain paper, up to 11 by 17, with exceptional copy quality. Look into the NP80 at your Canon dealer and get in touch with the age of micronics.
This Christmas card was sent to you by the people at Miller High Life. Merry Christmas.
He can't walk, but he's a tough coach who shows a bunch of delinquent losers how to be winners.
I teach, you learn.
Aaron Gray, Robert Conrad, the Coach of the Year, a world premiere Sunday.
With Merlin Olsen, Dick Enberg, Riverfront Stadium, one of the finest games we've seen all year, tied at 24 in the fourth quarter. We were listening to those old Bill Stern tapes last night at our friend Jack Bailey's house. Game is almost playing like one of his portraits.
He couldn't have built any more tension and emotion into this one than we've seen today from these two fine football teams.
The Bengals now have possession. 12:35 left. Alexander up the middle to about the 17-yard line. Well read by that Browns defense, Robert L. Jackson, who has played brilliantly despite injuries again this year, but healthier than he has been. Key tackler, ball at the 17, call it 2nd and 7. In case you join us late, Jim Breach kicked the field goal early to give the Bengals a 3-0 lead. Then Thompson scrambled 13 yards for a score to make it 10-0 Cincinnati. Sipe to Rucker, 42 yards, 10-7. It was tied at 10 on a Cockraw field goal just before the half. It's been tied at 17. It's now tied at 24. Thompson almost fumbled. Now he gets it away, incomplete. Thompson ever so close to having that ball stripped away.
See the smile there. He realizes he dodged a bullet there. Watch him here. He feels the rush coming from the inside, gets away from it briefly, knows he's going to be trapped by Alzado there, and just threw the ball away. Now, wow, you got to be lucky that you don't throw that to one of those guys in the white shirts.
Perfect triangle of Browns, and the ball landed in the middle. Pete Johnson comes out. McAnally split left. Well, you'll go with only one running back here out of the shotgun, Alexander, with now Curtis flanking right. 3rd and 7. Thompson going to run it. First down at the 32. Devilish look by Thompson as he peered up at his opponents.
You'll see why Thompson runs out of the shotgun here. Takes a quick look and sees no one up the middle and didn't hesitate.
I think that's a call play. Do you think that's a call play?
Either that or an option to run up the middle. It's possible, but he did take that quick step back, saw how open it was up the center, and again, we talked about mobility, the importance that adds to the ability and to the performance of the quarterback.
From the 32, oh, what a hit by Henry Bradley as he met Pete Johnson straight up, and you don't stop Johnson cold like that very often.
You can hear those pads crack all the way up here in the booth.
Bradley was sought and brought to Cleveland by Tommy Prothro, who knew of him after San Diego picked him in the 9th round in '78. And as a free agent, he has paid some rich dividends. Henry Bradley playing that nose guard. Curtis left, McAnally right. 2nd and 10, play action. That's Bradley after Thompson. Gets it away, incomplete. Clay Matthews knocked it away. Dan Ross, the intended receiver, he said he had a hand on me. The right hand was on me while he batted the ball away with the left hand.
Thompson back fighting for his life. He feels the pressure. Got pressure coming from the outside. He runs to the outside. Again, trying to buy a little time. That's Bradley coming at him strong. Gets the ball off. But a good defensive play. Whoop. See Thompson dumped into the dirt out there. I'll tell you, those quarterbacks take quite a beating after they throw the football, too. They earn their living. They make a good contract, but they make their trips to the training room, too.
Born in American Samoa, Jack Thompson, 3rd and 10. Got a man open. Ross all the way to the Cleveland 34-yard line. Dan Ross. The
Cleveland defense was victimized for well over 400 yards last week by Minnesota. Most of that yardage coming to tight ends and backs. This pass, of course, to a tight end who's broken clean. No one on him. Ron Bolton, the closest man, finally makes the stop. But Ross did an excellent job finding the open territory. Thompson got the ball into his hands. And Sam Rutigliano shaking his head saying, hey, who's supposed to cover him? That's Marty Schottenheimer, the defensive coach, trying to answer the question on the sideline.
Now, the Browns aren't the only ones that have had trouble covering Ross. Oops, Mike Wilson, 77, before the snap. Let's finish up the Don Ross story. As you pointed out, Merlin, in terms of the national pro attention, he's not really attracted that much. But Dan Ross has caught more passes than Ozzie Newsome, for more yards than Ozzie Newsome, and more touchdowns than Ozzie Newsome. He's had very quietly had a great year.
Offense, first down.
And with his 4 catches today, Dan Ross has 55 for the year.
Not a bad season. Not a bad season at all, and a young man who will get better.
1st and 15 from the 38 of Cleveland. Ross in motion. Draw. Well read by the Browns defense as Charles Alexander corralled by Robert Jackson. And Alexander and Jackson having words. In fact, you saw Alexander kind of flail a little bit at the Cleveland linebacker.
And Jackson turned back to him, tapped his chest. He said, "You want more of me? I'm here. Come find me." You got to feel for the emotion in this game. These two teams really going at each other. And the Kardiac Kids, they're doing it to us again. The end of the play here, Alexander will come quickly off the ground. You see the little bounce on the helmet there, a little swipe from Alexander. Intentional or unintentional, doesn't really matter. They're both a little ticked off there.
McAnally complete at the 22. It'll be another Bengal first down. 16 yards, Thompson to McAnally. Let's pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network.
WLIO, Lima.
Dick Enberg and Merlin Olsen, Cincinnati's Riverfront Stadium. 24-24 tie with 8.5 minutes left. The Bengals going nowhere but home for the holidays, but trying to finish the year with 4 straight wins against the Browns, who need a victory desperately to assure a playoff spot. Johnson to the 20-yard line. Alzado with a tackle. It's the latest on that New Orleans game. As you know, should the Browns lose, they would need an upset by New Orleans over New England to get a wild card berth. And we want to bring all you Browns fans up to date. The latest from New Orleans. New England leads 31-27 with 10 minutes left. Second and 9. Intercepted. Tom Darden at the 20, at the 30, all the way to the 33. The all-time pass interceptor in Browns history. They have made the biggest of the year for it.
That's just what it looked like. The Cincinnati Bengals were going to earn those briefcases. Jack Thompson throws a bad pass. He's a young quarterback. He just made a great pass. This one goes over the head of the intended receiver, and that is so costly when you're throwing into traffic right there. 27, Tom Darden in position, picks it up, out to the outside, and although he's tackled, he makes the big play for the Cleveland Browns.
The Bengals' long drive to a possible lead ends on this interception.
Dan Ross outside, just a little quick turnaround move, but that ball must be thrown low. Cannot go high because it goes right into the secondary. And that's a costly mistake, but a mistake made by a young quarterback who will make that kind of mistakes until he gets more experience.
Tom Darden returned it to the 33. Sight incomplete through the hands of Reggie Rucker at the Cincinnati 45. Other scores of interest, well, we'll get to that right after this.
And this almost was a reverse play, ball bouncing out of Rucker's hands, and the receiver cannot afford to do that either, because often that tip will go right into the hands of a waiting defensive back.
Look at that one, Merlin.
Oh,
Minnesota leading Houston in the fourth quarter, and we understand there's 2 minutes left in the game in New Orleans, with New England leading 31-27. 2 minutes left.
Everything going to the wire today, right down to the end of it.
Cardiac weekend. Sight to feature, intercepted by Ken Riley at the 34 of Cincinnati. Veteran Ken Riley, he is the leading interceptor all time in Bengal history. That's his 47th.
Ken Riley's been around for 12 seasons. And one thing he's learned is that when that ball is in the air, it belongs as much to him as it does to the receiver. He makes an exceptional catch. Goes up and takes it away from the intended receiver. Big play for the Bengals. They're back in the middle of it again. 7
minutes, 37 seconds left. And it's a 24 tie. Little confused identity there. He thinks he's a reindeer. Nobody's perfect. Nor have the Browns and Bengals. Turnovers, 4 for Cincinnati, 3 for Cleveland. Sipe intercepted for the second time. And it's the 34 of Cincinnati as Pete Johnson breaks a couple of tackles and gains 5 yards out to the 39.
That roar, obviously, for Pete Johnson. We told you at the beginning of the game, he's gone over 100 yards, back-to-back 4 games. He doesn't have that kind of yardage today, but I think that's a great deal of that credit must go to the ability of that Cleveland defense to play against the run.
7 minutes, 10 seconds left. McAnally left, Curtis right, a tie game, 2nd and 5. Whoa, almost a fumble by Archie Griffin as he's hit at the 41-yard line. Griffin was having difficulty maintaining that handoff.
One of the things that happens to you when you don't play a great deal, somehow the emotion really does change the game. You get into a game and the timing changes. Things that are done that seemingly at full speed in practice are done even more quickly on the field during a game. Archie has not played a great deal. That might have been part of the problem. He had trouble getting a handle on that one.
Gain of a yard, 3rd and 4. From the Bengal 40-yard line,
Blitz.
Thompson to throw. Incomplete through the hands of Curtis. And the Browns will get the ball back.
They were coming hard. The Browns, not a team that runs the blitz very often, but they've done it quite often today to Jack Thompson. Thompson had to fire that out of there as Judson Flint came from his safety position, put the pressure with him, put the pressure on him, along with several of the other members of that crew.
Clinton Burrell, the cornerback, was also in on the blitz.
Double safety blitz. You're really throwing them in there on that one.
McAnally with Wright and Hall standing inside the Cleveland 25. Short kick. He almost missed that one completely. And a break for the Browns. It goes out of bounds at about the 45-yard line. McAnally disappointed. He caught that one way out on the front end of his foot.
We talk about peaks and valleys, highs and lows. You saw McAnally early. As he caught that incredible pass, you saw the height of his emotion, and now you see the height of his frustration as he makes a very bad play.
Now it's Cleveland's turn.
Say, nice office.
It's comfortable.
But you're not. You know, you could use a comfortable suit. Like Hager Magic Stretch with special stretch fabric.
All right.
And a stretch waistband for comfort.
Feels great.
Hager stretches your wardrobe and your budget. In Hager Magic Stretch, you'll feel as good as you look. How's that?
What could be better?
You couldn't ask for more than Hager, especially for the holidays.
I'm a professional wine consultant, so when I say I like something, I'd really better know what I'm talking about. Take Haughty Burgundy from Ernest and Julio Gallo. Now that's one wine I can recommend to you wholeheartedly. It's a rich, complex Burgundy with a very special taste. You know, the more you know about wine, the more you appreciate Gallo.
Haughty Burgundy from the winery of Ernest and Julio Gallo.
The master, Paul Brown, coached at Massillon High School, Ohio State University, Great Lakes Naval Academy, the Cleveland Browns in the great days of Motley and Graham and Speedy, Lavelli, Dub Jones, and then eventually here with a new franchise, the Cincinnati Bengals. 24-24 tie. 14-yard punt by McAnally, and Cleveland starts from its 45. Pruitt gets 4. I'd like to thank Bill Schwarberg and Mike Leonard, player identification today here at Riverfront. Good job, gentlemen. Looking forward to the playoffs, and of course, there are all kinds of question marks left, and you'll be able to follow all the action right through to the Super Bowl here on NBC. This telecast presented by authority of the National Football League, intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Bengals and the National Football League is prohibited. Sipe to Newsom, complete. Well thrown. He kept it low, and it's a first down at the Bengal 44.
We talked about young quarterbacks making mistakes. Sipe has had his share today, two interceptions. But on this pass, the ball is well controlled, as you said. He's got to throw this ball low to keep it away from the defenders. He did exactly that, and he got an excellent reception on the other end of it for a first down.
They're in the final seconds in New Orleans. New England still leading by 4. Newsom with that last catch has 4 today and 50 for the season. Newsom in motion. First down. To Calvin Hill, complete. And Hill steps out of bounds at about the 37-yard line. So Sipe patiently picking at that Bengal defense. The game even at 24, and the clock running down to 4:34. And the Kardiac Kids obviously are going to do it to their fans again.
We're going to hold suspense right till the end. Again,
a final, Merlin Olsen. The Raiders are in the playoffs. They beat the Giants 33-17. That's a final.
Sudden Sam. I think he'd like it suddenly. He'd like something to happen now. Something to happen for his team. Well, he got something.
Didn't want that.
That's not what he had in mind. And in a game as close as this one, you don't want to give up those timeouts. You saw Brian Sipe's reaction to having to do that. But again, interesting, the kind of maturity that he has. He's not going to make the mistake, the cheap mistake. There's something interesting. Kenny Anderson warming up on the sideline. I wonder if he's going to get a shot late. That would be...
we didn't think he'd play.
No, he didn't think he'd play. He didn't think he could play. Maybe the adrenaline's been pumping. That leg has gotten a lot better. That ankle's improved. He said, hey, put me in, coach. I'll go.
Thompson, when he came off the field the last time, looked as if he might have been poked in the eye. Remember?
He did. It looked like he was either crying or laughing, one or the other, and perhaps he was poked in the eye there.
Forrest Gregg is a disciplinarian. He's a tough coach. Some players don't like that kind of leadership, and some question how he would do here in Cincinnati. There were folks in Cleveland who felt he was too tough on some of the players. But here in Cincinnati, this young team has really praised him. There's the final. New England does defeat New Orleans 38-27 to keep their hopes alive, and now that means Cleveland must win today or they are home for the holidays. Dick Enberg, Merlin Olsen in Cincinnati, Ohio, Riverfront Stadium. Cleveland and Cincinnati are tied at 24. Cleo Miller drives to the 33 of Cincinnati. It appears to be close to a first down. Reggie Williams with a tackle. This game has gone back and forth. Cincinnati led 10-0 early. Cleveland rallied the tie at 10 at the half. Then an interception, touchdown, Ray Griffin, 57 yards. Hope in the second half, Cincinnati led 17-10. Then Brian Sipe hit Ricky Feature 2 times on bombs to give Cleveland the lead, 24-17. And then an incredible catch by Pat McAnally of Cincinnati. A man carried off the field on a stretcher in the first quarter, tied it at 24. And now we're down to 3:50. The Browns must win to be in the playoffs. Knight threw it all the way to the 18-yard line. Brian Hicks saved the touchdown.
The Cleveland Browns, depending so heavily on the passing game during much of the year, have gone increasingly to Pruitt here in this ball game. Pruitt finds a hole. Excellent blocking inside by De Leon, the rest of the offensive line. Pruitt explodes up through there. Big gainer, down in easy field goal range, but knowing Sipe, knowing Retigliano, they want the 7. Greg exhorting his defense to take it away. Shut them out. Keep them away from that goal line.
And a reminder again, Cleveland working in the frozen end of the field. Cincinnati missed a short field goal from this area in the second half. That's Cleo Miller inside the 15 to the 14-yard line.
Very conservative call. Not what we'd expect out of the Cleveland Browns. Could it be that Sipe and Retigliano are changing their spots a little bit here late in this ball game?
Well, with 2:43 on the clock running, the game tied at 24, and Cleveland on the march. The Browns, a team that will pass from its own end zone, and now deep in the other team's territory, have stayed on the ground.
Seifert told me earlier in the game, he said, we may be a little more conservative against this team today. They certainly have been that.
Give to Pruitt. Big hole. He's all the way to the 6-yard line. First and goal, Cleveland. Mike Pruitt now with 50 yards.
Watch the hole open up for Mike Pruitt. Double team block on Wilson Whitley inside. De Leon doing a fine job. Also good help there from Shepard. Number 68, Robert L. Jackson, the man in there now in the guard position. But it's mostly the excellent explosive running of Pruitt that got them down inside of that 10-yard line.
This Bud's for everyone who lives the life of the sea.
This Bud's for you, for all you do. The king of beers is coming through.
Yeah, just for you, that distinctively clean, crisp taste that says Budweiser.
For all you do, this Bud's for you.
When high interest rates keep America from buying the fuel-efficient cars it needs, it's time to do something about it. Starting now, when you buy a new U.S.-built 81 Chrysler, Plymouth, or Dodge passenger car on credit, you can deduct 7% from the sticker price, including options, because we think the interest rates are 7% too high. That number will move up or down depending on a significant change in the prime interest rate.
Make your best deal, then get $380 to $1,200 direct from Chrysler.
We'll help you buy the car you want.
2 minutes remain here at Cincinnati's Riverfront Stadium. Cleveland knows now that New England has won, so the Browns, to make the playoffs, must beat Cincinnati. It is first and goal. Arthur Modell, the owner of the Browns, across the way, looking right down on the action. First and goal outside the 5-yard line. This has been a 4-minute drive. The 8th play coming up. Ryan Sipe and the Browns 5 yards away from taking the lead against a very tough, aggressive Bengal defense today. He has Pruitt and Miller behind him. Pruitt, no gain. The Bengals pinching in, and actually a loss of a few inches for Pruitt.
All too often, in fact, throughout the season, those have been passing situations for these Cleveland Browns. They just don't hesitate at all to put that ball up into the air. But they have been more conservative in this game, especially here in this final quarter. Got to believe that they might even take their 3 points if they have to, rather than to make a costly error or throw up a touchdown or throw up an interception.
Perhaps a costly injury. Wilson Whitley, number 75, being attended to. Fine young defensive lineman for the Bengals. The signal by referee Jerry Markbright was timeout Cincinnati. We'll see whether or not he's going to charge this one to the Bengals or call this an injury timeout. Apparently, according to the scoreboard, it will be charged against Cincinnati, giving them 1 timeout left in the game. The Browns have 2 remaining. Whitley apparently all right, leaving under his own power. What a game. The Browns, who have been a last-minute, last-second team the last 2 years, are doing it again. Browns and the Bengals, Ohio rivals, playing for some bragging rights. The Browns defeated Cincinnati handily, one of the few easy wins for them all year, about a month ago, 31-7.
Rod Horn has gone in place of Wilson Whitley on this play, although I think we'll see Whitley if they can stop them here. I think he'll come right back in.
Beecher way out to the left, and Willis Adams to the right. Give it to Mike Pruitt. Out of bounds. Where?
2-yard line.
Boy, Pruitt hungry for that end zone. Almost turned the corner.
Excellent pursuit, inside out. Glenn Cameron, number 50. Number 27, Hicks, driving. But Mike Pruitt just using that great leg power and that leverage to turn the corner and get everything he could before he finally went out of bounds.
Whitley comes back in He is joined by another defensive lineman, Mike White, number 63, as Forrest Gregg will go with some added beef, takes out a couple of defensive backs. This is the 10th play of this drive. 3rd and goal at the 2-yard line. 4 seconds, 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1. They just got it off. Sight dropped at the 5-yard line by Ken Riley. They did not fool the veteran cornerback.
A naked bootleg by Brian Sight, who's not known to run very often. They'd run the ball 3 straight times. Sight fakes it inside. Both backs coming in, takes it on his hip, but Ken Rattler Riley, number 13, just like a snake out there saying, no, sir, you're not going anywhere, and put him down on the ground.
Sight found himself with not as much time as he wanted. When he moved under center, the 30-second clock was down to 4 seconds, and he had to hurry the play off. So 4th and goal at the 5, and Don Cockroft, the veteran kicker of the Cleveland Browns, with 1 minute and 29 seconds left, has a chance to give the Browns the lead.
And earlier, from the same end of the field, it's slick, it's frozen down there. Jim Breach missed a short field goal that could have made a significant difference in the outcome of this game. Cockcroft now on that same part of the field, and it is slick down there, will have his chance. And the Bengal defense will have a chance to climb over the top and try and block that field goal.
The Bengals calling a timeout. Try to cool off the toe of Cockcroft. From the 12-yard line, a 22-yard attempt. The Browns are in the lead. No doubt about that one. Right down the middle, but there's still 1 minute 25 left. The Browns and the Bengals, Ohio rivals, tearing at each other. Cincinnati trying to deny Cleveland a playoff spot. The Browns have the 3-point lead that would give them an opportunity to go on into the playoffs and toward that Super Bowl dream. But they're going to have to stop the Cincinnati team that has plenty of time but no timeouts. And Ken Anderson apparently not expected to play at all. At least he stripped off that warm-up jacket, is going to be the quarterback.
He's going to be the quarterback. It'll be his first play in several weeks. Working on an injured ankle, did not expect to play today, did not feel that he was able to play today. But the adrenaline that pumps in the system of an athlete is a wonderful thing. He said, hey, I'm ready if Jack can't go. We don't know what the injury was to Thompson, but maybe a finger to the eye, something to bother his vision. 1 minute and 25 seconds to go. Kardiac Kids have got us down to this again. And as you said, it is not over. It is not over yet.
You wonder about Cincinnati electing to use a timeout when Cockcroft was kicking that field goal. That could be a very important timeout denied the Bengals. Very high and quite short. All the way to the 20-yard line comes Montgomery, and he is tackled at the 32. Clock stops with 1:19. Clock has ran 2 extra seconds. Actually, it was 1:20, kicked off to 1:18 as the veteran from Augustana, Illinois, Ken Anderson, in his 10th NFL year, replaces Jack Thompson. Oh, what a script.
And you couldn't ask for a better man to step in. He's a precision passer. He's a veteran quarterback. He knows how to work the clock. He has the confidence of his teammates.
Isaac Curtis up on a wing. Very loose Cleveland pass defense. Over the middle, complete to Curtis. Trying to use his speed, but he couldn't get away. And the clock is running. 109, 108. Judson Flint, a good short tackle for the Browns.
No huddle, they'll go quickly.
2nd down and 7. Anderson in trouble. Incomplete to Pete Johnson. Stops the clock at 52 seconds. Last week, the Browns had a 2-touchdown lead plus midway through the 4th quarter. only to see the Vikings score 3 times, and of course won the game on an incredible 80-yard drive in 2 plays, 14 seconds on that squadron right catch when Ahmad Rashad picked it out of a crowd to deny the Browns a win. You wonder if that's planted somewhere in the back of their minds. Anderson down the middle, complete. Ryder all the way to the 43. The clock is running, 43, 42 seconds. The Bengals now wish they had one of those timeouts. 22-yard play. What a throw by Anderson. First down, over the middle, Ross. But the clock will run with us. He's to the 34. 23, you see the clock running. Anderson throwing his team into formation. Throws this one away. 11 seconds left. Oh, my. Sam Rutigliano, I don't think there's a doctor's x-rays that could handle what's happening inside that van. It would look like an anthill.
I think he's done it to all the rest of us, certainly to the fans in Cleveland. But what an exciting game, and appropriately, the way this team should finish their season, with everything still hanging in the balance. With their defense on the field, hey, saying, let's stop them. You saw Sam say it right there. Let's stop them. Kenny Anderson about to take the snap. 11 ticks left on the clock.
Will he go for the touchdown or go for a field goal? Complete to Kreider, but I don't think they can get a playoff. At the 14, it's over. The Browns are in the playoff. Contingent of Cleveland fans pouring onto the field. You could see what the intent was. Kreider was trying to catch the pass, hoping to get out of bounds and try a tying field goal. But a good hit kept him in the field of play, and Sam Rutigliano's Cleveland Browns have earned a spot in the playoffs. They are the champions of the AFC Central.
Very emotional embrace. Art Modell and his wife, his lovely friends there in the booth sharing a great moment of happiness. I'll tell you, they followed it all the way. That's Art's wife there on the right side of your picture. They're happy. Cleveland players obviously thrilled to be in the playoffs. They've earned it. They've had a fantastic season, Dick. They've taken it all the way to the end.
There's the Cleveland Browns locker room. You'll see the happy Warriors as they come in to celebrate a hard-earned victory in a very difficult season. Nothing easy for the Browns. The most dramatic team of the National Football League comes down within 11 yards of extending their season. Nate Wallach, the veteran public relations man for Cleveland. The Browns fans came here, 10, 12,000, and it might have been the difference. They certainly offered support. Cleveland has beaten the Bengals 27-24. Tom Darden, who made that hit on McAnally early, made a big interception. Reggie Rucker had several big catches. Calvin Hill, he's been there before. The Browns are champions, and we'll be right back after these messages from your local station.
A promotional fee has been paid to NBC by United Airlines. United serves more of this land than any other airline. That's what friendly skies are all about.
When you want a great hotel that puts you in the center of things, let Sheraton put you there. Call 800-325-3535.
This has been a presentation of NBC Sports. We're proud to bring you the best in sports television.
Sunday, Ponch and John rescue a van load of babies.
Aren't they cute?
Chips.
Share the love, challenges, and adventures of the Ingalls family on Little House on the Prairie. Michael Landon stars every Monday night at 8 on TV 35.
Terry Sweaty Oldsmobile has a reputation for handling only quality late model used cars. And right now, they have one of the largest selections of late model used cars in the area. Any one of these value-rated cars would make an ideal second car or replacement for that old model you've been wanting to get rid of. Gently used, these cars have all been thoroughly reconditioned by the service department. So if you're looking for a better car at a better price, see one of the salespeople at Terry Sweaty Oldsmobile soon.
You know, the 7:24, Coach Sam Rutigliano down in the Cleveland dressing room.
It's the best thing that's ever happened to me. And the thing that's most important about it, we can all share it together.
Yeah!
Hey, we're number one. Let's take
it. You're watching this live from Riverfront Stadium. Sam Rutigliano's Browns are in the playoffs with a hard-earned win in Cincinnati.
Well, let's go. There's no collection, so don't worry about it. We're all the good guys.
Amen.
Clarence Scott, 22. Thank you. One of the treasures of being associated with sports, not only the action you see on the field, but the recognition of the camaraderie, the love that these people have for each other, and the understatement by Rutigliano of how it's a great moment for him. And what made it beautiful is that they could all share that together. A Browns team that fell behind 10-0 early, tied it at 10 at the half. Came out in the second half, found Ray Griffin intercepting a side pass for a touchdown to put Cincinnati ahead 17-10. It went to 24-24 before veteran Don Cockcroft, only the third kicker in Cleveland Browns history, could nail one from 22 yards and send the Browns into the playoffs. And this picture tells it all. That's why men coach. That's why boys and men play games, to share in that joy. And for the fans of Cleveland and for the fans of the Browns throughout the country, our congratulations. It'll be the Browns in one of those playoff spots. Merlin Olsen, this is Dick Enberg. Thank you for being with us. The final at Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati. Cleveland 27, Cincinnati 24. Dick Enberg returning to New York, and Brian Gumbel.
Thank you, Dick Enberg. I think you and Merlin drew the long straw. Certainly the best ball game of this day, the Browns and the Bengals. Browns a winner 27-24 and crowned themselves champions of the AFC Central Division. It was a wild ball game. Bengals jumped in front of Brian Sipe and company by a score of 10-0. That's how it was at the half when Sipe came out and promptly put the Bengals out in front by a score of 17-10. Ray Griffin, a 52-yard touchdown interception run. 17-10 before they started the Sipe to Feature show. Brian Sipe to Ricky Feature, 35 yards, 17-17. Brian Sipe to Ricky Feature, 34 yards, 24-17. But there was no quit in this Bengals club. Jack Thompson brought him back, a 59-yard bomb to Pat McAnally, who had had his bell rung and had to leave the game on a stretcher earlier, tied the ball game at 24, but that was before Cockcroft came on to kick a field goal from 22 yards out, a field goal that booted the Cleveland Browns right into the playoffs. Minnesota against Houston. The Houston Oilers also a winner today. They beat the Minnesota Vikings 20-16. Earl Campbell enjoyed a fabulous ball game. We'll tell you about his heroics, and we'll have some highlights right after this commercial timeout for a word from Budweiser.
Holiday
Cleveland Browns, Earl Campbell, and the Houston Oilers are in the NFL playoffs. Earl made sure of that today by going over the 200-yard mark to help his team turn back the Vikings by a score of 20-16. Where else could you see Santa dressed up in Love You Blue but in Houston's Astrodome? Tommy Kramer to Joe Sensor. They did this twice in the first half to stake the Vikings to an early lead, but what a day Earl Campbell had. He pushed himself over the 200-yard mark for the day, pushed himself over the 1,900-yard mark for the season, and in the process enjoyed the second greatest season of any NFL running back. finishing off with somewhere close to 1,950 yards. We're still waiting for the final count. It was Jim Brown's 1863 that was the standard before O.J. topped the 2,000. Now Earl Campbell is the man in second place. The New England Patriots still have playoff hopes. They could find themselves champions of the AFC East yet should the Buffalo Bills lose. Patriots a winner over the Saints today, 38-27. Saints tried. Boy, did they try. They took a 10-0 lead, in fact. Archie Manning lateraling out here, and then touchdown pass from Jack Holmes to Jimmy Rogers. Saints moved in front by a score of 10-0 before Kavanaugh got to work. Came back for a field goal to make it 10-3, and then Kavanaugh to Francis. That deadlocked it at 10. After that, it turned into a wild ball game. Kavanaugh throwing 2 touchdown passes into the arms of Andy Johnson to open up a lead. But the Saints kept coming back and coming back. Wayne Wilson going over from a yard out brought them close. This made it even closer. Manning to Chandler, a 23-yard touchdown reception, but the difference provided here. Don Calhoun, who topped the 100-yard mark, going in from 22 yards out, helping the Patriots go by the New Orleans Saints. Mostly Tutupu added 1 for insurance, but the final again, New England 38, New Orleans 27. We're going to come back with more scores and highlights after this word from Budweiser. Oakland Raiders weren't supposed to be much of a force this year, but somebody along the way forgot to tell Jim Plunkett and the men in the silver and black, because all they did was fashion themselves 11-5 season and move themselves right into the playoffs as strong contenders to win it all. 33-17 in the Meadowlands was the final count today. Another long day for Ray Perkins. Another year ends with the Giants still rebuilding. They're 4-12, if you can believe that. Jim Plunkett up top, 32-yard touchdown pass. Cliff Branch, 17-3 Oakland. As the first half ended, Scott Bruner, playing in place of Phil Simms, threw an 11-yard strike into the arms of Leon Perry to send both teams to the locker room, with Oakland leading 20-10. But Plunkett picked up where he left off when he came right back out, lofting this 37-yarder into the arms of Raymond Chester. After that, the Raiders never looked back. They beat the Giants easily. 33-17 was the final count. Green Bay and Detroit, pair of teams just closing out the year. Lions appeared to have wanted it more, playing in the Silverdome. They finish out a 9-7 club by beating the listless Packers 24-3. Bart Starr's Packers finish 5-10-1. Bart says he will make a decision as general manager on whether or not to bring back Bart Starr, the coach, sometime in the coming weeks. Washington Redskins finish up 6-10. St. Louis Cardinals finish up 5-11. Final in St. Louis, 31-7. Kansas City against Baltimore. This one's still going on. Good ball game. Chiefs are out in front at Baltimore's Memorial Stadium by a score of 31-28. This one's been a strange one. Kansas City jumped out in front 21-0 before McCormick's Baltimore Colts came back. J.T. Smith, he's a dangerous man when he's on the other end of a punt, as he was right here. Mike Bragg punted it away to him, and J.T. took it back. All he did was bring it back 53 yards for a touchdown. This moved the Chiefs in front by a score of 21-0. But it was after that the Colts started going to work. Burt Jones looking, finding Joe Washington. Score, 21-7. Burt Jones, after getting another one to make it 21-14, throws a 14-yard pass to Randy Burke. Touchdown. This one moved Baltimore in front 28-21, but Kansas City has since come back. It's 31-28 KC in the fourth. Late ball games just getting started. Buffalo, San Francisco, deadlocked at 6. That one in the Bay Area in the second period. If the Bills win, they're AFC East champs. NFC West champs already are the Atlanta Falcons. They're closing out against the Rams. This one being played in Anaheim, and Atlanta's out in front by a score of 14-3. Steve Bartkowski has thrown 2 touchdown passes, one to Alfred Jenkins and one to his fine rookie tight end, Junior Miller. Dallas Cowboys still looking to win the NFC East, are beating the Philadelphia Eagles in the first period in Dallas. They're out in front 7-0. And Denver and Seattle, Broncos full of pride, playing in the Kingdome in the first period, out in front 10-0. We'll be back. Long playoff chase. We'll get about the business of crowning a champion starting next week as the playoffs get underway. Don't forget, we'll be with you through the finish, January 25 and Super Bowl 15. Tonight on NBC, it's Disney's Wonderful World, followed by Chips, followed by the premiere showing of Coach of the Year. This has been the Budweiser NFL Report, brought to you by Budweiser. For all you do, this Bud's for you. The executive producer of NFL 80 is Don Ohlmeyer. Today's show was produced by David Stern. Directed by Bob Levy. Our technical director was Sal Nagita. Associate producer David Neal. Associate directors Mary Buta, Mike Eilbaum, and Brian Orangerat. Bowl Fever coming to NBC. We'll get it started this Friday with the Fiesta Bowl. day after Christmas, we'll match up Ohio State against Penn State. And then New Year's Day, it's Big Ten champion Michigan going against the Washington Huskies, champions of the Pac-10. And then that night, it's the Orange Bowl, 4th-ranked Oklahoma against 2nd-ranked Florida State. For now, for all of us associated with it.
Back live in New York, I'm Brent Musburger with Agony Cross. Oh, you should have seen the look on Irv's face when Franklin missed that field goal. You're in trouble, big fella. The Greek may have you right there.
They have to come back.
Let me point out the highlight of the day, that for the first time since 1971, the Pittsburgh Steelers are not going to the NFL playoffs. However, tomorrow night, they will determine the fate of the San Diego Chargers and a couple other teams in all probability. To the scoreboard and get you up to date. Minnesota loses to Houston, and so the Oilers are in, and Earl Campbell rushes 29 times for 202 yards. Detroit closes out its year 24-3 over Green Bay. Billy Sims, 18 carries, 54 yards, and 1 touchdown. The Oakland Raiders are in the playoffs, 33-17 over the Giants. Van Egan, 18 carries for 115 yards. New England still must wait and see. A couple of chances alive. 38-27. They down New Orleans. Kavanaugh 16-28 for 233 and 3 touchdowns. Washington wins going away over St. Louis 31-7 on a meaningless game there. O.J. Anderson, 22 carries, 132 yards. And what a game this was. Cleveland wins the AFC Central Division title 27-24. And probably the hardest hit that I've seen all season took place in this game. Pat McAnally, tough wide receiver out of Harvard, working the pattern for Cincinnati, and he's struck by Tom Darden. Irv, what about the blow delivered here by Darden?
An illegal blow. Forearm to the head is an illegal blow now in pro football. Brent, he should have gone to his shoulder. Should have been a penalty flag.
For 5 minutes, he was on the ground, carried off on a stretcher. But then he came back in the second half. He was punting for the Bengals. In fact, it was roughing the punter when he returned, and he drew a first down on the play. Then, down the stretch in the fourth quarter, he caught this pass from Jack Thompson, battled his way into the end zone. That tied the game after the extra point, and then Cleveland pulled it out on a Don Cockcroft field goal, 27-24. Kansas City comes back to beat Baltimore. 38-28 was the final in that game. Here's one of the chances for the Patriots. They win the AFC East if San Francisco can beat Buffalo. They're tied right now in the third period. Denver, another meaningless game, 19-0 at the half over Seattle. And out on the West Coast, Atlanta leads Los Angeles 14-3. Bartkowski has thrown 2 touchdown passes for the Falcons, and the Dallas Cowboys 21. Philadelphia, nothing. Okay, what about the playoff picture? Let's start with the NFC, because, of course, all 5 of the teams had qualified. Atlanta and Minnesota automatically draw byes next Sunday. They are division winners. For the wild card, well, the Los Angeles Rams will be matched against either the Dallas Cowboys or the Philadelphia Eagles. And now there is a distinct possibility that the Cowboys can come on and win the NFC East. Well, the AFC is considerably more complicated. As of right now, we have 3 teams that have qualified for the playoffs. Cleveland has out and out won a division, so they've got a bye. Oakland is in between, because if San Diego loses tomorrow night, the Raiders win the AFC West, and they too would get a bye. Meanwhile, Houston must be a wild card, and they will play someone else next week. Couple of chances to wind up with a home field advantage, of course, depends on what Pittsburgh does. If Pittsburgh eliminates San Diego, Houston gets the home field. Buffalo, San Diego, and New England. 3 teams looking for 2 spots. And the NFL today will continue with a behind-the-scenes look at that feud between Al Davis and Commissioner Pete Rozelle after these messages from your local stations. In calling, we have learned that a group of owners approached attorneys about the possibility of ousting Oakland owner Al Davis from the NFL. And we're told the attorneys said that such a move would only support Davis's charge that there is a league conspiracy against him. Only yesterday, the NFL petitioned for a change of venue in the antitrust suit brought against the league by the Los Angeles Coliseum Commission. The league said that media coverage of the matter made it unlikely that an impartial jury could be found in the area, further charging that the Los Angeles Herald-Examiner has served as though it had been a house organ for the Raiders and the Coliseum Commission.
The case is scheduled to begin in U.S. District Court in Los Angeles 2 weeks after Super Bowl 15. Davis is a man who does not blush when he's called a street fighter, and he has never backed away from controversy in his life.
This story is pure California. It involves 3 cities, 2 teams in the National Football League, and 2 of the strongest personalities in all of sport. But what it really boils down to is money, and lots of it.
Last night, we agreed in principle
to move our playing dates in 1980 to Anaheim Stadium.
And that is where the story begins. The late owner of the Rams, Carroll Rosenblum, got an offer he couldn't refuse. An offer that included 95 acres of prime commercial real estate in Orange County, California. But in taking that offer, Rosenblum left a void, and that void became an opportunity of a lifetime for Al Davis.
Back is Plunkett, setting up. He looks, goes to the end zone, a leaping try. Raymond Chester makes a superb catch, and the Raiders are back in the football game.
Al Davis owns 20% of the football team that plays here. But people who know Davis say that he would much prefer to own 20% of the team that plays in the shadow of Beverly Hills and Bel Air. Al Davis is an action guy, and Los Angeles is an action city.
In Al Davis's mind, there are only two cities in this country, New York and L.A.
He is big city oriented. I think he has to take care of his ego.
Wayne Valley was the original boss of the Raiders. He brought Al Davis into the organization as coach, hired him again as general manager, and sold Davis 10% of the Raiders for the bargain basement price of $18,500. Davis repaid the favor by forcing Valley out of the organization.
He does not deal very well with people up front. He likes to deal in the closed rooms.
I don't understand him, and I don't know that other people do, but there seems to be controversy wherever he is.
The biggest controversy of Al's career marks his attempt to move the Raiders out of Oakland and into the Los Angeles Coliseum. This controversy has put him on a collision course with Pete Rozelle.
And I told Al when he saw me on January 7th of this year, and for the first time said, I'm strongly leaning toward going to Los Angeles. And I said, well, Al, if you want to move, let's get some information together about your problems in Oakland. We'll have a league meeting. He said, Pete, if I decide to move, I do not intend to go to the owners for approval.
Article 4.3 of the NFL Constitution says you can't move your team unless 75% of the other owners let you. Davis was convinced he couldn't get the votes to move.
We charge that the NFL board is run by Pete Rozelle in an autocratic manner. He has the votes necessary, and he's determined to keep Al Davis and the Raiders from coming to Los Angeles.
I think Al and perhaps his attorneys feel that in their case, it's better to establish this situation as a fight between himself and me, which of course totally rejects the obvious fact that when a vote was taken in Palm Springs, not one of the other 27 owners voted approval for him to move from Oakland to Los Angeles.
Here is someone who is attempting to violate the Constitution and bylaws by moving without asking for and receiving permission from his fellow owners. That we will not permit and we will not allow.
Davis declined our request for an interview, but he had other ways of making his voice heard, including a charge that Pete Rozelle is saving the lucrative Los Angeles market for himself.
Pete Rozelle could conceivably thinking about his own future in coming to Los Angeles with a professional football team, which Pete Rozelle would be directing.
Rozelle emphatically denied that charge to me, and Gene Klein of the Chargers accused Davis of clouding the issues.
Absolutely ridiculous. And again, it's the big lie. It's the big lie. It's the big cover-up, the Joseph Goebbels theory. Tell the big lie often enough, say it often enough, some people are going to believe you. You throw enough mud against the wall, some has to stick. That's the theory.
At stake is a franchise that could be worth $40 million if it carries a Los Angeles label. Now, does Al Davis have the right to it? Davis and Los Angeles say yes. Oakland, which has backed the team with 12 years of sellouts, says no, and the NFL agrees. It is now in the hands of the lawyers and judges, and this Super Bowl of litigation could well go into overtime. Speaking of Los Angeles, we have an update out of Anaheim right now. The Rams have gotten on the board, Irv, against Atlanta with a touchdown. It is now 14-10. Gerald Thomas, what do you think of this young man?
Boy, he's come out of nowhere. He came off the bench as a reserve.
The scoreboard will show you exactly what we mean. Houston is a wild card as they beat Minnesota 20-16. Detroit down Green Bay. The final there was 24-3. Now it was Oakland wrapping up a spot in the playoffs in the AFC side. And watch here as Plunkett goes to Raymond Chester. 37 yards and a touchdown. It was all Raiders, 33-17. New England is on hold pending tomorrow night's game. 38-27. They down New Orleans. And the Patriots struck here with Don Calhoun running it in from 23 yards away. Now the Patriots must pull for the Steelers to win. That's their only chance. Washington down St. Louis, 31-7 the final in that game. The Cleveland Browns win a division title, 27-24. They draw by Brian Sipe to Reggie Rucker for a score, and congratulations go out to the Browns. And it was Kansas City 38, Baltimore 28. That's a final. And Buffalo wraps up a division title, the AFC East, beating San Francisco 18-13. Seattle didn't win a game all year at home. They bowed to Denver, and in overtime, the Rams down Atlanta 2017. Finally, it was Dallas 35, Philadelphia 27. If San Diego wins at home, they're in the playoffs. If Pittsburgh wins, New England is in. We hope you have enjoyed all the action today on CBS, and from all of us at CBS Sports, a very Merry Christmas, the happiest of New Year's. We'll see you all next Sunday. So long, everybody.
The NFL on CBS is a presentation of CBS Sports. If you've asked Senator...
We're Exxon. We're Bob Larkins, whose department is ready to invest billions to develop synthetic fuels.